Thank you. All right, first thing I'm going to do, see I got my camera with me, I want a picture. So y'all get your flags and your signs and everything up, and I'm going to take a real quick picture. All right, wow, good job. I'm going to set that right there, and hopefully I won't leave it there and forget about it. Thank you, Bill, for inviting me to come speak. I've known Bill for a little while. We've had a few sit-ins on committee hearings, politicians who claim to be supporters of the Second Amendment, who really are behind the scenes subverting your right to carry. Now I'm going to tell you what, you've heard from some politicians today, and I hope they're all sincere. I'll take them at their word right now. But you're the ones who will let us know whether they are or are not, because they're your representatives, they're your senators, and you're the ones who have to hold them responsible. So you can look to Campaign for Liberty or Palmetto Gun Rights, which is over here, and they're going to let you know what's going on in the State House. But it's up to you to hold your politician accountable for how they vote or how they don't vote. So all of these folks that were up here earlier, you watch them. You watch them.
We are.
Now, you know, I'm really glad we're on this side of the building, because normally rallies are on the north side of the building, and you don't get to see these two buildings behind you over here to the right. So turn around and take a look, and you're going to see this first building behind you to my right, to your left. That's the Gressett building. That's where your senator's office is. Go in there and visit them. They're not there today. They only work on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and only about half days on those. Which is good. They need to be here less. But there's your senator's office building, and then the one right behind that is the block building. That's where your House member, that's where their office is. Go visit them. Let them know that you know who they are. And don't let them compromise. Now, I've been active in politics in South Carolina for about 12, 13, 14 years. Yeah, a little bit longer than that. Started out with Grassroots Gun Rights, the organization that the bill is associated with. They have been the premier gun rights organization in the state and have defended your right to keep and bear arms for a very long time. They've gone quiet here in the last year and a half or so with some internal strife. Palmetto Gun Rights has filled the void.
Yes, sir.
So before you leave today, you need to come over here and say hello to Denise Snelling. Wait, she's over here in the corner. She's the chairman of Palmetto Gun Rights, and I've been working with her. And Palmetto Gun Rights will make sure that you know exactly what's going on, and who's voting for, who's voting against, who's working against you behind the scenes, and your right to keep and bear arms. So make sure you go and see her. Oh, and before I forget about it, how many of you would like to have a free AR-15? All right, because Palmetto Gun Rights is giving one away. The only way that you can register to win, though, you can't do it here at the table. You have to go to their website. It's palmettogunrights.org/AR15, AR-15. Just fill out the form. No donation required. You don't have to buy anything. You just fill out the form, and it is your name, your email address, and your zip code. And they're trying to build an army of folks who will help out, and they're offering free AR-15 if you go and do that. So make sure you do that. Now, I want to talk about some specific things. You've heard the politicians speaking, and I thank them for that. I have a hard time not being hard on politicians, even the good ones. I mean, that's just what I do, so forgive me for that. But I want to talk about a couple of specific things. And the first two, now, I rarely ever talk about what's going on in Washington, because we got so many problems right here in Columbia that I think we need to focus most of our attention right here. But occasionally I'll change on that, because sometimes the things going on in Washington are so serious that we do have to pay some attention. And I'm going to tell you what the most dangerous thing right now in Washington is for your gun rights. And it's not the Feinstein bill, as dangerous as that is. The Feinstein bill is so over the top that it will likely never pass. It's the big scary, right? It's the big scary that they're throwing up there so that your politicians will be willing to compromise for something less. That is the most dangerous thing. And it's your responsibility to call every one of our members of the congressional delegation, the ones that you think are really, really good, and they are, some of them, but you've got to put the steel in their spine so that they will not compromise. And our 2 senators, you need to be calling them not once, not twice, but all the time, at least once a week, and reminding them that if they compromise, they need to be looking for another job. There's 2 so-called reasonable gun control measures that are really, really popular right now, and they're both very dangerous. And I know a lot of you are thinking that they're going to be very reasonable and it's something we can accept, and I'm going to tell you why you are wrong. One is mental health checks. And I'm going to tell you why that's terrible. There's lots of reasons, primarily because it is completely subjective. All it takes is a liberal anti-gun psychiatrist to sign your rights away forever to own a gun because they don't like something about you or they just don't like guns. There's no trial, there's no jury, there's no hearing, there is no defense.
Sounds like a Patriot Act.
It is predetermining that you're going to commit a crime in the future. That scares me to death. Number 2 is closing the so-called gun show loophole. Universal background checks. And I'm going to tell you why that's dangerous. That sounds kind of reasonable, right? We don't want convicted felons having guns, maybe. But here's why that's so dangerous. The only way the federal government is able to enforce dealers doing background checks is because they track the guns from the manufacturer to the dealer. And you know, when you go to a dealer to buy a gun, they have a little book that they flip through and they find the gun serial number and they write your name in so that they know, or that they write that it's been sold and that a background check has been done. The only way the federal government can enforce universal background checks is if they have universal gun registration. That is the only way it can be done. Don't let them fool you. The only way they can enforce that a gun transfer from you to anybody else, if the background check is done, is if they know that you have the gun. So universal background checks is equivalent to universal gun registration. And you know that universal gun registration is only a half a breath away from gun confiscation. We can never let that happen in this country. All right, so that's federal. My mouth's dry. Now, right here in the state, we've got a couple of bills in the State House that we need your support to get passed. One of them we call constitutional carry. Woo! And I appreciate Senator Bright for sponsoring that bill. This is what constitutional carry means, and this is why it's so important. Imagine that you, your daughter, your wife, comes home from work one day and says, "Hey, Dad or Mom, there's this really strange guy hanging around the parking lot at work. And I've seen him there 2 or 3 days in a row, and I know he doesn't work with me, but he's there, and it's kind of weird, and I think he's even followed me once or twice. What do I do?" Well, I'm going to tell you, hopefully, you've already trained her. She's carrying and she knows how to protect herself. But if not, if she doesn't have a current concealed weapons permit today, then here's what she's got to do in order to protect herself. She's got to find an instructor. She's got to register for a class. Then she's got to wait for the class to come. She's got to be taught, take a test and pass a written test, take a shooting test, pass the shooting test, pay the instructor, then pay SLED $50, have a background check run, and then wait 90 days before she can carry a weapon to protect herself. Now, tell me, did that criminal who was stalking her go through all of that? I guarantee they did not. We are left vulnerable and at a disadvantage to the criminals because we're law-abiding citizens.
Yes, sir.
We try to follow the law. They don't. So constitutional carry, this bill will allow, if you can buy a weapon, you can carry the weapon. Period. Now, it does leave in place the CWP so that you can get it, to get recognition from other states who will recognize South Carolina's CWP. So that's left in place if you want to get it. It'll also get rid of South Carolina's ban on open carry. Do you know that South Carolina is one of only about 4 states that absolutely ban open carry? You know, most states in the nation allow open carry without a permit, and that it's just concealed carry that you have to get a permit for, but not South Carolina. South Carolina, nobody can open carry unless you're law enforcement. Period. So anyway, oh, and the other one is, and I'll finish up here. The other one is protecting our children. And I appreciate the things that were said earlier about our school carry bill. And I'm going to tell you what, the more good people that we have carrying, the safer we are, and that includes our children in our schools. So I fully support the Trina Shealy's bill that will allow a concealed weapons permit holder to carry on school grounds, period. That's what's going to protect our children. So anyway, thank you. Campaign for Liberty is my organization. I have been talking about Palmetto gun rights because that's what we're here for today. So please go over and check out Denise Snelling over here with Palmetto Gun Rights. Her website is palmettogunrights.org, and the free AR-15 is palmettogunrights.org/AR15. Thank you.